When you get down to basics and you talk about morality, it seems to me that the least that we can do as a nation which has more income and wealth inequality than any other major country on earth, a nation in which the wealthiest people are becoming phenomenally richer while we have over 40 million people living in poverty, the very least that we could say is that nobody in America goes hungry. That, I would hope, would be the least that we could say is in a civilized democratic society.
Senator Sanders tells ABC News he is in.
And Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont running for president.
Earlier today, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders officially announced that he will run as a Democrat for the President of the United States.
We now have a political situation where billionaires are literally able to buy elections and candidates. Let's not kid ourselves.
They want to end Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, more tax breaks for the rich and large corporations. Nobody in America wants that except the billionaire class. And yet they are now able to put hundreds of millions of dollars into the political process.
A great nation will not survive, in my view, when so few have so much and so many have so little.
He has a set of consistent principles that he has run on his entire political life.
I think Americans love authenticity, and they think there's not a lot of it in politics today. And Bernie Sanders, like him or not, is authentic.
Let's say this about Bernie Sanders. He is the rarest of commodities in Washington, D.C. He is truly an honest man.
I've never run a negative ad in my life. I've been in many campaigns, and you ask the people of Vermont, they will tell you Bernie Sanders has never run a negative ad. I hate and detest these 30-second ugly negative ads. Obviously, we have to be strong in protecting our people from terrorism, but I don't think we have to undermine the Constitution and deny our people basic constitutional rights. I think what we have got to appreciate is when you have 6 financial institutions that have assets equivalent to about 60% of the GDP of America, you know what? Let's be honest. You can't regulate them.
You'd break up the banks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are if they're too big to fail, they are too big to exist.
Middle class is collapsing, poverty is up, and the rich are doing phenomenally well. What do? What you do is say that in America we're going to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, and by doing that we're going to create millions of jobs.
We've got to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, and over a period of years to at least $15 an hour.
We as a nation are the only country in the industrialized world not to guarantee health care. 45,000 people die each year because they don't get to a doctor on time, which is why, by the way, I am a strong advocate of a Medicare for all single-payer program.
Quality education in America, from child care to higher education, must be affordable for all.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders surprised everybody by raising more than $1.5 million in the first 24 hours after he announced. You have 100,000 people who have pledged to volunteer on the campaign already?
No, actually we have 175,000. All over this country, you have a lot of bright, decent, good people. They're saying, you know what? The situation is hopeless. You can't beat the Koch brothers. You can't beat the billionaires. You can't win. I'm giving up. That is exactly what they want us to believe. And I beg of you, do not enter that world of despair. We can win this fight if we stand together.
Well, let me just say this about my political career. I think few would argue that it is the most unusual political career in the United States Senate. Nobody thought that I would be elected mayor of Burlington, Vermont. Very few people thought that I would beat an incumbent Republican to become United States Congressman from Vermont by 16 points. And people weren't so sure I could beat the richest person in Vermont to become a United States Senator. So I would say, don't underestimate me.
When millions of people stand up and fight, they win.